Hey everybody, how's it going? I wanted to do a video talking about my recent Blu-ray pickups. I mentioned that this was going to be a thing I was going to do on my channel, and this would probably be the third video of this I believe I've done. I don't pick up Blu-rays as much as I want to because it's an expensive hobby, but I love collecting Blu-rays. I love watching my films on Blu-rays. I watch streaming stuff all the time, but if I'm going to watch a film, I prefer to have it on Blu-ray, or if there's like a show I really like, I always just prefer to have everything on Blu-ray, 4K if I can. But I'll just take you through what I have today. I haven't gotten a whole lot, but I think this is a hobby that I've been sorely I shouldn't say neglecting because again it's expensive, but I want to get back into this. There's a lot of cool stuff that's come out, and there's a lot of good 4K releases coming out that I want to see. So I think you should expect more of these videos probably in the coming months. But yeah, for now, I'll just take you through what I got. Not a lot, like I said. The first one, I don't own this, but I've mentioned before I have a lot of Blu-rays on loan, and that would be Rosemary's Baby. This is the Criterion release of Rosemary's Baby, and this is just a regular Blu-ray. But Criterion always does a great job with all of their releases. Now, this is another one that I've never seen, man. I've never seen Rosemary's Baby. I'm a huge horror fan. It's my favorite genre of films. I've seen all the classics. Shouldn't say I have seen all the classics because I haven't seen this one. Another classic film I've never seen is The Omen. Until a month or two ago, I saw Omen 1, 2, and 3, I believe. And I liked it. I really did. I've mentioned before that these classic horror films and a lot of classic movies, I watch them that I haven't seen, and I enjoy them, but they're not masterpieces to me, right? Sometimes a lot of these classic horror movies are maybe a touch dated. I very much appreciate them for what they are, what they've done for the genre, but they're not necessarily always like my favorite. Like The Omen. I know that's a classic film. I've never seen it. I really liked it, but I wasn't blown away by it. But I could appreciate it for what it is. This blew me away. This was very, very good. I gave this 5 stars on Letterboxd. I thought this was amazing. This is one of the best films I've seen in a very long time. I cannot believe I've never seen it. I can't believe it's taken me this long, but it was amazing. It was equal parts horror, mystery, and comedy. The humor was unexpected and really great. The acting was phenomenal. The music was phenomenal. The cinematography was phenomenal. And I always talk about in horror movies, my favorite aspect of horror movies is dread, not terror or tension, where you're waiting for something to happen. The tension factor, right? Something's coming and you're waiting for it. That's tension. Dread, I feel, is always when the characters just have this overwhelming feeling that they're helpless and trapped in this nightmare sort of hellscape where every hallway leads to a dead end sort of thing. Jeepers Creepers is the best example I can always give of dread. Those characters in that are just helpless. That's not a masterpiece of a film, but that film has a great dread factor where it just feels like they're in a nightmare. No one can help them. Halloween 3, the characters are just fucked in that movie, and nobody can help them. This movie had that too with the main character, Rosemary, obviously. But that's the feeling I got, and it was just so wonderful. It was amazing. I thought this was an incredible film. I loved it. I'm so glad I saw it. I'll be watching this a lot more. It was a great transfer. This is just a Blu-ray, but they did a great job. I did not watch any of the special features. I'm sure there are special features on here. But it was a great transfer for just being a Blu-ray. I feel like Criterion always does a wonderful job. So that's Rosemary's Baby. I don't own this one, but I had to show it off because it was just an absolutely wonderful film. The next one I got is a 4K release. And this is, yes, Daniel-san and Mr. Miyagi. This is the trilogy set of The Karate Kid on 4K. It doesn't include the 4th movie, which I'm okay with because that movie's not good. I don't really think Karate Kid Part 3 is very good either, but it's okay. I love The Karate Kid. It is one of my favorite films. I don't know why. It just has a feel-good vibe to it. I love it. It's just good. I don't get sick of watching it. if I can pretty much watch a movie endlessly and not get sick of it, I think it's probably one of my favorite movies. And this definitely fits that bill. I love this movie. It comes with these cool slip covers. They're matte finish slip covers. They're pretty cool. And then you got the 4K Blu-ray. And inside you got the regular Blu-ray and the 4K. I didn't check any of the special features on here. Some deleted scenes and stuff, so I can't comment on the special features. I do like special features. That's one of the reasons I love Blu-rays, because I very much enjoy special features. I just haven't gotten to it. I only watched the first one. 2 and 3 I haven't seen. I mean, I've seen the films, but I didn't check out the transfers. But I thought it looked really good. It looked great. It's probably the best it's ever looked. I don't know if it blew me away like some 4K releases. I've talked about this ad nauseum, but the HDR is really the winner for me. If a 4K transfer has very good HDR, it's a treat for my eyes. It was okay. It was pretty good, HDR-wise. It was not nearly as good as some of other releases I've seen, but it was very good, and I don't really have any complaints other than that. It was great. Cool artwork. I just love this series, man. I just love it. I'm looking forward to watching the other two. It's great. I've never seen that show, Cobra Kai, on Netflix. It's very mixed reviews. I feel like on one hand, people are overwhelmingly positive about it, and then I see a lot of people saying it's terrible. I don't know. But yeah, that's that. I just got this. This is The Matrix on 4K. HDR. And I thought that was a cool cover. I've never seen this film. I know, surprising. I've never seen this film. I've seen it on TV throughout the years. I've seen bits and pieces. I've never sat down and just watched The Matrix. 2 reasons. It's not, well, really one reason. I thought it was an action film, which it is. But throughout the years, I'm not into action films at all. I don't like them. I can't really even, there's very few films that are action films that I would say I like. The only one I can really think of is like Dances with Wolves, which is my favorite film. That's really more of a historical Western film. But there are big, long action sequences in it. But I'm generally not a fan of action movies. Not to say they're not good, but it's just not my cup of tea. And I was kind of right, I guess. So I decided to watch this. It's more like a science fiction. It's an action film disguised as a science fiction film, is how it felt to me. And so, how do I feel about this overall? I think it was made very well. I think it actually held up very well. I know this movie was incredibly iconic for what it did to action movies of the time. And just in general, it's a very iconic film. I think that there's a little bit of kind of crappy CGI that hasn't held up well, but it's fine. It wasn't really that bad. I think the movie overall has held up very well. I think it was well made and well acted. Yes. Oh my God, what's his name? Okay, well, I'm having a aneurysm here. Oh, Keanu Reeves. Duh. Keanu Reeves, is very hit or miss. Sometimes his horrible acting is the fun part of the film. He was actually okay in this movie for Keanu Reeves. But it just didn't go into the science fiction route I thought it was going to. When they got into the real world and they took the Nebuchadnezzar down into the cave system and everything, I thought this is, because I like science fiction, I thought this is awesome. I want to see the more, when Morpheus showed Neo this is what the real world looks like. I wanted to see more of that, and I didn't. They went back to the Matrix for fighting stuff. As I said, the movie is called The Matrix. Of course, it's going to primarily take place in the Matrix, but that didn't do it for me, personally. I think it was made well, like I said. I just think it wasn't quite my cup of tea. The action was cool. The bullet time thing, I know that's overdone now, but I correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this was kind of the film that popularized that bullet time sort of thing, the cool kung fu. It was cool to watch for sure. It just didn't do much for me. I really, really wished that it was a science fiction film foremost. But it was cool, and it looked great on 4K. It looked very good. It was very clear. I think I said out loud when I was watching this, wow, this looks like it could have been filmed yesterday. It really was that good of a 4K release. In terms of HDR, it was about on par with the Karate Kid, where it didn't wow me, but it wasn't distracting from the film. I don't think the HDR in this release necessarily added much, but it definitely didn't take anything away. This movie has a very stylized look to it. It's a green tint over the whole film, of course, right? Green is the color of this film. So it just had a green tint constantly. And I don't think the HDR really added much. There wasn't a lot of bright lights in this movie or things where HDR really pops. It just was fine. But yeah, I like this. I didn't love it. I would give it like a 3.5 or a 4 because it was very well made. But it's not my cup of tea, but I'm very glad I saw it. And then my last two are just my favorite. Just, I'm so glad I have these. And I'm very frustrated that they have never released the other seasons. And that, my friends, one of my favorite actresses of all time is I Love Lucy. Okay, these are the Blu-rays of the first and second season. Okay, yeah, this is a big deal for me. I really love I Love Lucy. It's my favorite show. One of my favorite shows. Probably top 3. These are really, really good. They're really good Blu-rays. I've wanted these for a while. I finally got them. They never released the rest of the show on Blu-ray. I think it's because they didn't do well or something. These are done very well. Now, the whole show is on DVD. There's a box set you can get. And I was actually going to purchase that box set of the whole series so I could have it all in one thing. And it has a lot of special features and colorized episodes and the TV movie and all that kind of jazz. But these are... I'm shocked by how good these are. And I'm surprised they didn't take off the way they did. The transfer quality isn't perfect, but it's... You know, I've been watching I Love Lucy it's on Paramount Plus, it's on Hulu. This looks so much better than what is streaming. If you are an I Love Lucy fan and you've been watching it on Hulu, which I'm sure you would know by now has tons of episodes missing. They basically put the greatest hits package up on Hulu. There's a lot of shit missing, including Lucy being pregnant and giving birth to little Ricky. That's not even up on Hulu, if I'm not mistaken. This looks so much better than what's on Hulu. This is why I love Blu-ray. This looks really good. And there are some things in here. The episodes look great. They could look a little better, but they look really good. It makes me really want a 4K release because, oh my God, it would look good. But there are some certain things on here. This thing is packed with special features. They have goofs. They have interviews. They have commentary. They have the My Favorite Husband radio show. There's so many special features on here. On each disc. This is, I know I'm going crazy about this, but man, oh man, is this a good release. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 discs in this first season. And each disc has a new set of special features. It's packed to the brim with features. And they have this makeup test where it's just Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball. There's no audio, they're just making faces and it's showing off their makeup and their hair. And I guess they just not recently, but when they did this, they found it about, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, whenever this came out, 8 years. And because it was just sitting in a canister, it really wasn't touched by people or anything. It almost looked like 4K footage to me. I've never seen Lucille Ball in that high of a resolution. I was just shockingly good, which just makes me want a 4K release of this so badly. And now we have also the second season, which has the color version of job switching, which, you know, is of course the chocolate factory scene, most famous episode of the show, probably. Plenty of other stuff. There's just so many episodes between the two of these, so there is a lot of content for sure. There's an immense amount of content between these two releases. It's as a huge fan, it is so disappointing that they did not release the rest of the series, man. Now, I Love Lucy has definitely had this resurgence in popularity because of that being the Ricardos film kind of nonsense that came out, and then Amy Poehler just put out a documentary, which I didn't think was very good, but there's been a bit of a resurgence. Now, I will say, as this is some kind of like super fan stuff, but when I was watching that, they were showing episodes that were not in these, you know, season 3 and beyond, and they were definitely remastered. So they certainly have remastered all of the content of the show. I would be shocked if they didn't, because they showed remastered content from other seasons. It's now just a waiting game of if they're going to release it or not. I don't know if they will. I hope they do, man. They'll probably re-release these seasons. They'll do a box set, or who knows what they'll do. But God, they gotta put those other seasons out, because these are very, very good. They're surprisingly good. If I was just expecting 1080p Lucy episodes, but everything on here is great, and they have the original broadcast versions of all the episodes, which is really cool. So you basically, for a lot of episodes, you have three options. You have the version that you've probably seen on TV many times with the heart on the satin backdrop. That wasn't added until later. That wasn't added until reruns. Originally, they had Philip Morris cigarette commercials, and they're kind of cool to watch from a historical standpoint, but they're also funny to watch because of how blatant their advertising was back then about cigarettes. And then they'll go into a scene of them all smoking cigarettes in the show, and you're like, oh yeah, there's the product placement. But it's cool to watch, though. And then they also, so I always watch those. They're a little bit longer than what you've seen on TV. A couple minutes added here or there to cut, they always cut stuff on TV just a little bit. Cut the end of a joke out or something. So it's nice to watch these unedited. And they also have the rerun episodes for certain episodes where they might have changed one or two things here for an episode on a rerun. Very minimal, but the fact that they included it, they wanted to give you everything. So these are just absolutely phenomenal releases. They look amazing. There's so much content, and I am going to repeat myself over and over, but I'm so disappointed that they did not release the whole series. I will pre-order the box set day one. If it's $200, I'm buying it. I would, yeah. And also the Lucy show, because I like that show more than I Love Lucy. I would really love a release of that as well. So that's that. That's all I've got. It's not a lot. I definitely went on a long time talking about I Love Lucy, but it's one of my favorite shows of all time. So yeah, I'll keep you updated. I definitely plan on getting some more stuff. There's a lot that I want. I think I'm going to get back into getting Blu-rays because, I've been missing it. So that's all. Let me know if you've seen any good movies lately. I haven't really seen anything other than Rosemary's Baby. I watched this show on HBO Max called The Righteous Gemstones, which is a show by Danny McBride, who made Eastbound and Down, and who just made the Halloween films with David Gordon Green. And it's very, very good. So that's what I've watched. Other than that, nothing. Really, I've been doing other stuff. So yeah, that's that. Take care. Peace out. Have a great day.